The rain the night they threw me out wasn't even heavy. Just that slow, cold drizzle that sticks to your skin like insult. I remember clutching a plastic grocery bag with my clothes inside, standing on the porch while Mom yelled through the doorway. "You'll thank us one day, Emma. This is for your sister's future." I was 15, a sophomore. My sneakers were falling apart behind her. Dad didn't even look at me. He just said, "You were never serious about anything. You'll figure it out or you won't. Either way, we can't waste money on 2 kids." 2 kids. That's how they talked about me and Alyssa, like one office was an investment, the other a liability. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Alyssa was 17, their golden ticket, straight A student, perfect smile, the daughter who could make this family proud. When she got accepted into an expensive prep academy 2 towns over, Dad sold the car to pay the deposit. Then he looked at me and said, "You're smart enough to survive without help." That's how I ended up sleeping on a bus station bench my first night out, my duffel under my head, trying not to cry because I knew tears wouldn't keep me warm. A retired janitor named Mr. Clark found me the next morning. He called me kid and handed me a cup of black coffee. He said he'd talk to the shelter downtown. Within a week, I had a bed in a shared dorm and a volunteer job sweeping floors. Every night, I replayed that last moment at home. Mom closing the door, Alyssa peeking from behind her, pretending to look sad but secretly relieved. "Don't hate me," she'd whispered. I didn't answer. I couldn't. At the shelter's public library corner, I started tutoring younger kids. Reading came easy to me and math was my escape. Numbers didn't lie. I saved every dollar I got from side work, every tip from mopping hallways. When I turned 16, I took my GED classes at night. During breaks, I wrote letters I never sent, one to my mother asking if she ever missed me, one to my father asking why he laughed when I begged him not to. I finished high school by 18. Nobody clapped. No balloons, no parents in the crowd. Just Mr. Clark in the back, grinning with a cheap disposable camera. He shouted, "That's my girl." And it was the first time anyone had ever said that to me without sarcasm. College wasn't an option right away. I needed rent first. I worked 3 jobs, diner waitress, delivery runner, and night custodian at the same high school Alyssa's prep program partnered with. Sometimes I'd see her name on the community board printed under National Honor Society. My chest would tighten, but I kept scrubbing floors. At 20, I finally got a partial scholarship for computer engineering through a local nonprofit that helped underprivileged youth. I remember reading the acceptance email in the laundromat, soap bubbles fizzing next to my tears. Meanwhile, Alyssa wastes in social media posting pictures in Paris. "Thanks, Mom and Dad, for believing in me." Dad commented, "Our pride." They hadn't spoken to me in 5 years. Not one birthday, not one message. By 23, I was interning at a tech firm. I had my own apartment, small, but mine. One evening, scrolling through local news, I saw an article, "Small-town businessman launches family fund to support his daughter's career." The photo was Dad, older but still smug hand on Alyssa's shoulder. They were smiling in front of a banner that said, "The Parker Family Foundation." I almost laughed. A foundation built on the money that came from cutting me loose. 2 months later, a message popped up on LinkedIn. From Alyssa Parker. "Hey Emma, long time no see. I heard you're in tech. Dad's looking for someone to help build a website for the foundation. Paid, of course." I stared at the message for a long time. 8-year-old me wanted to scream. 2-year-old me wanted to smile. I typed back, "Sure, tell him to call me directly." That night, I sat on my bed, laptop open, rain tapping the window again. Same kind of drizzle as the night they threw me out. But this time, I wasn't shivering. I was thinking. Because if life had taught me anything since 15, it was this. The people who call you worthless never think you'll live long enough to prove them wrong. and I had just been handed the perfect way to do it. When Dad called, his voice was exactly how I remembered it: arrogant, dismissive, dipped in that fake businessman. Confidence he'd always used when trying to sound important. "Emma," he said, dragging my name like it tasted bitter. "Alyssa tells me you're some kind of tech person now. We need OBSite. Something classy. It's for the foundation. You'll be paid fairly." Paid fairly. The words almost made me laugh. This was the same man who once said my existence was a waste of dinner plates, but I kept my voice even. "Sure, I'd be happy to help. We can discuss rates and requirements in person." He hesitated, then agreed. We met at their house, the same one I was thrown out of at 15. I hadn't been there in 12 years. The moment I stepped through that door, it was like walking into a time capsule of my humiliation. The same floral wallpaper, the same living room couch where Mom once told me, "You'll never be like your sister, so stop pretending." Only now everything looked newer, glossier, like money had finally arrived to polish their cruelty. Mom came out of the kitchen carrying a tray of coffee. She froze when she saw me. The fake smile spread across her face like paint cracking. "Oh, you look decent," she said. "Did you find a job after all?" Alyssa stepped in, her diamond bracelet catching the light. "She's helping with the website, Mom. Be nice." Mom laughed. "I'm always nice. I just can't believe she actually does something professional now. Who hired you? Charity?" I bit my tongue. The old me would have cried. This me just opened my laptop and said, "Let's get started." Dad showed me their ideas for the foundation site, an organization meant to empower young dreamers. The irony nearly made me choke. Every word on that pamphlet was a lie. As the days passed, I visited often under the pretense of working. I built the website from scratch, but what I was really building was access to their files, their accounts, their trust. Alyssa would brag endlessly about her new business venture, a boutique brand funded by the foundation's donors. "We're inspiring girls, you know," she said one afternoon while sipping wine. "Not everyone can rise from nothing like I did." I just smiled. Right, not everyone. By the third week, I had everything I needed. The passwords to the foundation's donation database, the client list, and the investment files that proved something ugly. The foundation wasn't even real. It was ATAC's front siphoning, money from fake donations funneled through Dad's business partners. They had built an empire out of lies using the same moral rot they'd once directed at me. And now, they had hired the wrong person to digitize their sins. The final straw came one evening when I overheard them talking in the kitchen. "Mom, I don't trust her. She'll want something. Dad, she's desperate, always has been. Once the site's done, we'll pay her peanuts and be done with her." Mom laughed, clinking her cup. "Some people never change. She's still the same little stray we kicked out." The old rage flooded me. My throat burned, but my voice was steady when I said goodbye that night. I walked out of that house with a flash drive that could end them, but I didn't go to the police. I wasn't interested in watching them get fined or arrested. That would have been too easy, too impersonal. No, I wanted them to feel what I had felt at 15. Powerlessness, fear, the slow realization that the ground beneath them was gone. I reached out to their top donors, pretending to be the site's outreach manager, explaining that due to internal mismanagement, the foundation would be temporarily shutting down until a forensic audit was complete. The news spread like wildfire. Donations froze. Sponsors backed out. Alyssa's boutique orders were canceled overnight when word leaked that the money behind her business might be questionable. Within a week, their empire was collapsing. But I wasn't done. I quietly transferred the foundation's legitimate charitable funds, the ones that were supposed to go to actual kids, into a verified account under the same nonprofit that once gave me my scholarship. Every cent went where it should have gone from the start. A week later, Dad called. His voice wasn't arrogant. This time it was shaking. "Emma, what did you do?" I said softly. "What you taught me." survive without help. He shouted something, but I hung up. That night, I walked past to their mansion. Lights off, a for sale sign in the yard. Alyssa's car was gone. Mom sat in the porch, hands on her face. For a second, guilt flickered in my chest. Then I remembered that 15-year-old girl standing in the rain with a plastic bag and no home. I whispered, "Your future, right?" and turned away, because this time, I wasn't the stray. They were. 3 months after the fallout, the news had spread far beyond our small town. "The Parker Family Foundation faces fraud allegations," read the headline on the local network. Alyssa's boutique had shut down. Dad's business license was under review, and the house that once gleamed like a museum of my humiliations at empty, the curtains drawn. A foreclosure notice slapped across the glass. But revenge doesn't feel like fireworks. It's quieter, heavier. It stays in your bones. I thought I was done. That walking away would be enough. But one afternoon as I was leaving the office, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Alyssa. Her voice, once soaked in arrogance, now cracked like glass. "Emma, please. I know you're behind this." I stayed silent. "I lost everything. Dad's gone half mad. Mom won't leave her room. I'm broke. Do you understand what that means?" I exhaled slowly. "You mean, do I know what it's like to lose everything?" "Yeah, Alyssa, Ito. I didn't mean for things to go that far," she whispered. "I was just a kid." "So was I said. "But when they kicked me out, you didn't blink. You didn't speak up. You let them throw me away like trash, because it made your future easier to afford." She didn't answer. I could hear her crying softly, but tears couldn't rewrite the past. Before she hung up, she asked, "How did you survive, Emma, when they left you?" It paused. "By becoming everything they said I couldn't be." That night, I sat alone in my apartment, small, quiet, with mismatched furniture, but more peace than that mansion ever held. I looked at the framed photo on my shelf. Me and Mr. Clark, the old janitor who'd saved me. I'd visited him a few months before he passed. He used to say, "When you've been through hell, don't build a house there." For years, I thought revenge was the house I wanted to build, but what I'd really built was control, something they never thought I'd have. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that one final conversation was left unfinished. So, a week later, I drove back to the old town. The streets hadn't changed much. Same cracked sidewalks, same faded gas station sign. But the Parker house looked smaller, uglier, like it had shrunk with its owners. Mom opened the door when I knocked. Her hair was gray now, her face hollow. She froze like she'd seen a ghost. "Emma." "Yes," I said, stepping inside. "You remember me?" Dad was sitting on the couch, unshaven, staring blankly at the TV. When he saw me, his eyes flinched. "So, you came to gloat?" "No," I said, though maybe part of me had. "I came because I wanted to see what was left," he barked, a bitter laugh. "You destroyed us." It tilted my head. "No, Dad. You destroyed yourselves the day you threw your daughter into the street for a promise you couldn't keep." Mom's lip trembled. "We were just trying to do what was best for Alyssa." "By ruining me?" I asked. "You called it sacrifice." "It was cruelty." She didn't deny it, just sat down slowly, rubbing her hands together like she could scrub the guilt off. Then Dad leaned forward, eyes blazing. "You think this makes you better than us? You're just like us. You wanted revenge." "I wanted justice," I said. "There's a difference," he sneered. "Justice doesn't buy you peace." I smiled faintly. "Neither did your greed." The silence that followed was thick. I could hear the clock ticking, the same one that used to wake me up for school. Every second felt like a heartbeat from another life. Mom whispered, "Emma, is there anything left we can do to make it right?" For a moment, I almost wanted to forgive them. Almost. But then I remembered every night I went hungry. Every time I scrubbed floors in silence just to buy a sandwich. Every winter my hands bled because gloves were a luxury. So I said the only truth I had left. "You can start by living with what you built." And I turned to leave. As I walked out, Mom's voice broke behind me. "Please, we're still your parents." I didn't turn around. "You stopped being that the night you chose her over me." Outside, the air was sharp, clean. I stood by my car and looked back once. The same house where my life had ended and begun all at once. The sun was setting behind it. And for the first time in years, I felt nothing. No hate, no pain, just quiet. A few months later, I started my own mentorship program for teens from broken homes. Kids like me who'd been told their futures were jokes. I named it the Clark Initiative, after the man who believed in me when no one else did. When the first student got accepted into college, I sat in my office, tears spilling freely for the first time in a decade. Not for loss, not for anger, but because the cycle had ended. And as I looked out the window, I realized something. I didn't just leave them with nothing. I left myself with everything they never could give. Worth, purpose, peace. Because when they kicked me out at 15, they thought they'd thrown away a burden. They didn't know they'd just released their own undoing. And now, every time I drive past that old town sign, I whisper to the girl I once was, "You made it out." Emma, they never will. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.